The operations to order. All aldermen are present. I make an motion to approve the minutes of the prior meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderman George. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. There's no unfinished business. New referrals for consideration, discussion, the tree program changes. So, a refresher on the tree program. The problem with the tree program, the new model we've been using is you have two choices. You can have the city do it and pay the city price and be reimbursed half, or go hire a contractor to do it yourself. And the problem is even paying half of the city price has been significantly more than hiring your own contractor. So the revamped model is go get your own contractor, which is way less than the city doing it, and then the city will still pay half of it. It's a good deal for the property owner, and it's a good deal for the city too, because the city's paying less. So that's the short version. Bob, you have anything you want to say about this?
I like it. I think it's a really good idea. A few little concerns. Some contractors may bid higher than us. I mean, there are tree contractors out there that might give you a quote for like $2,000. They're definitely out there. Heard rumors of it. You know, should we say as long as it's less than our costs?
Why can't we have the choice, either the city or?
Well, what if we're going to be paying more? I'm saying, like, they hire their contractor and it's more than our bid. I mean, I suppose that.
Well, then that means they're going to be paying more too, right?
Yeah, they.
So, going through the application process, we'll just catch that. But
The way this is worded, I've read it several times, and I'm not sure. Does it leave open the option of the city doing it and still the half? I don't know what part was cut out and this put in.
I think it should be at the lowest of the two. If we have a city contract, we know what that price is, right? Mm-hmm. And in the bid, in the application process, that homeowner would, as part of the application, they would submit, this is what it would cost,
Right.
Or not.
I could see something Bob's concerned. I'm sure a lot of you have been in auto accidents, and you take it to that auto repair guy. He says, "We'll charge you $3,000, and the city will reimburse you half, and you and me split the difference." So that could be an option that somebody might.
Value as opposed to a half as a 50%. Say, you get X amount.
Well, I just put in that the city shall have the option of using a city contracted provider participating in the program.
Yeah, the city would be one of the bidders, correct, Nick? Is that the way you're?
Yeah, that we would have standing bids. I think for we would bid out an RFP for anything.
Could we not just include that as part of the application?
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm thinking. That we do that as part of the.
We got ABC. They said it's going to be $1,000, but the city has something to check and say, oh, it's going to cost us $700 to take that tree down. Yep. We're going to process,
if you want to use your guy, fine, but we're only going to give you half of what the city price is.
That makes sense.
Like a blanket PO.
Yeah.
Unless the homeowner's contractor is cheaper, correct?
Right, and then we split.
And then they get half of whatever that value is.
I mean, I think you're right, and I think 90% of the time, the contractor, that you hired yourself is going to be cheaper, and everybody wins. But
I think there could be that 10% time where, for whatever reason happens, lining of the stars, the city will come out cheaper.
Someone's brother-in-law, give him the business.
Or just maybe the guy's really busy, and supply and demand. I don't know. Maybe they're just really busy, and so they're like, yeah, I can do it, but it's going to cost you twice as much. It's going to cost you $2,000. I don't know, right? But I think it might be nice to include some verbiage in there.
If we just change it to provide a rebate of 1/2 of the city's cost of such removal.
Up to.
Well, why would it be up to if we have a city bid?
Well, the city bid, like Nate's purpose was, this was like twofold. This saves the homeowners money, and it also saves the city money. If we're going to guarantee half of the city's price and they come in at $1,000 and our price is $1,500, we're dishing out $7, they're getting more than half. See what I mean? I don't know. It's supposed to also save the city money. That's the-
But how many times is that realistically going to happen? I mean,
Up to 1/2 months.
So is the application process, is that approved prior to releasing funds for that? So homeowner fills out the application, hands it in, there's an approval, or could the tree already be removed? Okay.
No, it's gotta be a tree that our forester says is in need of coming down or maintenance for us to be involved in putting the bill.
Okay.
Part of the bill.
And then
So this could be vetted out right within that
Yeah.
process? Yes.
right,
Yeah.
and then the homeowner will know that ahead of time.
Correct.
Which
They'll
is-
know that.
Okay.
And, you know, I guess you could put like an amount requested or amount or bid received, and from what contractor as part of the application, right?
Yeah, it's not like the sidewalk one.
You say, okay, ABC quoted me $1,000. If it's higher than the city, then the city steps in and calls the homeowner and says, we can do it for cheaper. I think somehow we just need to get that verbiage in here.
Is there any need to put property damage into the code, or can that be enforced outside of the code as far as, like, if they drop it on a water service, or if they break the sidewalk, which is typical
Or a
of
roof.
contractors that really don't know.
But that would be covered under their permit though. When they pull the permit to remove the tree, they have to have a licensed contractor or their homeowner's insurance would have to cover into it. So that would cover any.
Saying what if they break the sidewalk then?
It would-
Then
that's-
replace it, I suppose.
Yeah,
Right,
when
that's-
they finally come back.
Right, but that's also part of the reason why the insurance is collected. So those kind of claims can be. Most permits are supposed to be reviewed by some sort of official from the city. You get a roofing permit, code enforcement guy shows up at the beginning, shows up the middle, shows up the end. Not saying they can get to every single one, but that's how it's supposed to happen. They could notice things like damaged sidewalks. Hey, there's a tree limb sticking out of the street because it's, you know, fell and plunged into it, you know.
So, what, I guess, help me understand your concern, Bob. So right now, when the city takes down a tree, if the sidewalk is damaged, the city contractor is responsible?
Yes.
And how would that not be applicable or the same? If,
Well, we hold their check, I mean, we pay them.
so who goes out and inspects that the work's been done and completed and no damage has been done?
Sue does, she takes pictures before.
Okay. Well, I would say that would fall on the homeowner.
Yeah, we follow.
The homeowner's responsibility, if they hire an outside contractor to do the work, wouldn't it fall on them to make sure the damage wasn't done?
Yeah, sure, we pull it out of the cost that we reimburse them for. You know, or do we not hold them accountable?
I'm not following. We
Well,
send
but-
somebody out to inspect, right?
Yeah.
And if they fail our inspection, we're not cutting the
Mm.
homeowner payment.
Yeah.
I mean, that can happen right now, where private contractors are cutting trees in the subway. Well, how do we deal with it
We just
at
give
the
an
moment?
We just give an order to remedy that their sidewalk's broken, and we
Yeah.
tack on other taxes, and maybe the county reimburses us. And
No, but I like the idea that you just don't release.
yeah,
Yeah.
So-
You didn't comply with the terms of the program.
Nick, can I make this suggestion? What do you think of this? The first sentence of it, blah, 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 shall have 30 days to have the tree removed by an insured contractor or the city provided contractor. Does that solve that problem?
Well, the city would be an insured contractor.
Well, by an insured private contractor or the city provided contractor.
And this is to address the cost issue on how to.
Yeah, so
I
they,
would-
because this kind of like works the city out of it.
I propose the city would provide a rebate of up to 1/2 of the city's or owner's costs, whichever is less, or something along those
Yeah.
lines.
That's clear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
that's good.
Okay, that's fine.
Or we could say to have the tree removed by an insured contractor within, or apply to the tree program within 30 days.
I don't know, I think we can work out the verbiage, so if we work this out, is everybody okay with us moving the PL form, and we'll keep this ball rolling?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, anyone else have anything to say on this?
Your formal PO next Tuesday for referral, and before next Tuesday, everyone will get the updated verbiage, and then it'll be published for about 2 weeks from Tuesday. So 3 weeks from today, since it's a quotation.
Okay, thank you. Okay, 4B, discussion, all aboard for Olean, a citywide cleanup.
So
John, is this yours?
Yeah, just a real quick update. I've heard from a couple of you, so I appreciate that, getting back to me as far as your availability to help. Still looking for team leaders for this Saturday in conjunction with National Cleanup Day. We're looking at maybe doing from 9 to 12. I mean, really, it's, if anyone can contribute a couple hours towards this effort. So I met with the mayor. I met and talked with Alderman Doherty on this. He's been helping to coordinate with some of the garbage disposal companies, and I'll let you, update that. But the idea so far, pretty much, the Chamber of Commerce is on board. Mimi's been great. She's trying to get interested parties to sign up for volunteering on this program, and JCC has signed up. Bono responds. Numerous groups, but really we got to get the word out to our community, especially to students who need service hours. CARES has signed up because some of their people need service hours, and the mayor and I decided that we should start at War Vets. We'll meet at 9 a.m. at War Vets, being enough parking there with the farmers market going on at the same time. There may be an issue with some parking around the city building at that time. So we'll meet at 9 a.m. War Vets. The city again providing the bags and gloves, and we're going to just disperse from there. We're going to see, really, could be 30 people, could be 200 people, I don't know. So depending on how many are there, we know what areas we can target and move out from there. So rather than having dumpsters, Alderman Doherty had an idea. Kevin, you want to talk about how you're coordinating dump sites?
Talking with Sean Dixon for Beekner Waste Services. He's going to get a small split body truck, and it's a smaller truck, but he'll be able to go around and we're going to cone off sections, maybe in parking lots throughout the city, and then this way he can take. The goal was we have different businesses in the area that are going to donate garbage bags. And this way we can do the black garbage bags will be garbage, things that are considered recyclable we do in the city's orange bags, and we put them into 2 separate areas that are coned off, 6 cones separating 2 different kind of bins with caution tape, label them, this is recycling, this is garbage. Sean will come by every few hours and pick up from each station and just throw them in, so that this way we're not just cleaning up the streets, we're also recycling, getting rid of garbage and getting rid of recycling the proper way. So
yeah, I think it's much appreciation to that business. I mean, to step in and volunteer to haul away our garbage and waste for us. That's great. Linda, yeah.
And I just thought of this. We have to somehow make it clear that this isn't a citywide cleanup where people put stuff out at the curb and they're thinking
Right.
we're picking it up.
Right.
Because I can see people thinking. So let's make it clear it's just
Sure.
a garbage pickup.
Litter.
It's fair enough.
Litter.
Right. Yeah.
does
There's,
your office receive any calls? Oh, I just figured, like, a lot of times we do citywide cleanup and you guys just get a ton of calls, like, where do I sign up? How much is it? When do I, you know what I mean? Just wondering if
Do you know where the litter stations are going to be?
we had 3 projected places with a 4th that was going to be a little odd, and then we were going to come up with maybe a couple more additional ones, but there was one, maybe the John Ash Community Center. Bill was going to look into the parking lot there. Bill was going to look in to see if there was an event going on that day. War Vets Park. We were trying to check into the St. Francis, the old St. Francis Hospital lot down by like Little Caesars Enterprise, stuff like that. And then the 4th one, John, was a
by the city garage.
city garage.
Over,
Yep.
over by the city garage. So those are really going to be again, the weather's supposed to be phenomenal, and rather than scare people off by making this a 6 or 7 hour ordeal, Bill and I said maybe just from 9 to noon, or really whenever people want to work till it would be great. But it's truly I think it's really nice to have it kind of be in conjunction with that National Cleanup Day. So see how many people we can get up there.
And then Della's going to be doing some work on the church. I know that the farmers market's going on, so bathrooms will be available there, but she also is opening up so she can allow people to need the restroom. And also her sister and a few other volunteers from her center are going to also volunteer that day, as well as they've provided water, which they'll have in coolers over at the church. So if anybody's kind of walking by in the area, we'll also load up Sean and the other trucks that might be going and volunteering around to go pick up from farther places to make those dump zones. They'll have coolers with some water in them to distribute out to anybody that's volunteering. So.
And we have signed up the city of Olean with the formal organization, the National Cleanup Organization. So this might be something that going forward we can try to keep up with. So they've been really supportive. So that's an update on that, Mr.
Okay,
Smith.
thank you. Anyone else on that? We're good? Before we do approval of committee reports and adjourn, I want to bring up one thing that's been around in my head. I've had a lot of complaints on the flower beds on North Union. I think I'm not the only one that's heard it. So a lot of them are snarky comments, but I've noticed they are hard to maintain. I love them in the summertime. They look spectacular when they're all mulched and the flowers are blooming. I love it, and I've complimented it. But I'm looking at the long view of this thing. If we ought to, do we have a plan in place, or how are we going to maintain these things? And I just want to throw this one idea out. There may be sections of it or the whole thing. I'm talking about the center median, not necessarily the water gardens on the side, is if they should just be mowed lawn and not be flower gardens, because they're such intensive maintenance. And I love them. They're beautiful. They look great, but they're a handful. And
but I think you're right, because there's a distinct difference if you start uptown and you venture down. It gets higher and higher and higher, especially with crosswalks, and then you hit Tim Hortons, and it's just beautiful. Not that that isn't nice, but it's clean, it's modern, it's crisp. So.
And I love them. I just think about the resource. We only have a finite amount of money and a finite amount of people power. And so going forward, how are we going to keep doing that year after year? So I don't know, I just want everyone to think about it. I think one solution is it'd be expensive for a big push, pull all those flowers out, sod it, and just have grass in the middle median that you can mow with a mower with a bag, and it wouldn't blow grass all over the street. And you could, it'd be 1/50th the maintenance.
Well, you'd have the trees there too.
You'd have the trees. It'd still be green. You wouldn't be putting the cement garden in.
Right.
And even some of the water gardens on the side, I mean, they're looking pretty jungly. And I noticed the one garden at the entrance of JCC is just grass, just mowed. And it looks good. It's not a jungle. But
Right.
anyways.
I noticed today they were going through and weed whacking everything, and it looks terrible right now. I wish they would have waited till after Olean to do that, because right now it looks. Have you been uptown? From the city building up to Community Bank, I think. They just weed whacked all the outside stuff, so there's these little things in the center, and that's it. It doesn't look nice. So. That's just my 2 cents.
Well, I have a high tolerance for overgrown vegetation, but even I have a limit. So I just want everyone to think about it. And
I think rain gardens, kind of like rainforest. So I think it's somewhere in between. That's what, when they started getting jungly, kind of predetermined that was something that was going to happen.
All right, so there's no committee reports, correct, Tiffany?
Oh.
I make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Witt. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? City offices adjourned.
City of the whole.
All right, so I'll call to order the committee of the whole for Tuesday, September 17th, 2019. Let the record show that all aldermen are present. So as far as unfinished business, we have PL 67-19 by Mayor Alio to award the Washington Street and North 4th Street water line replacement project. This is just an item that I talked to Nick ahead of time, that we can, I sent you all an email. I assume everyone, I didn't hear anything back, any concerns or questions. So this is going to be, what we'll be moving forward with. I believe, would we have to do it next week, Nick? In the regular meeting?
Regular meeting.
Okay. So I've been receiving a lot of questions from residents on Washington Street saying, hey, I thought this project was supposed to kick off this fall. What's going on with that? And I talked to Nick and Bob Ring and been informed that the contractor that's being awarded this project will be starting in the spring. They will complete it by the date on the contract. Off the top of your head, Bob, do you know what that date is? The completion date?
I think it's June 30th.
Okay, June 30th. Originally, there was some hopes that they would start doing the water line replacement this fall and then do the road replacement in the spring. But I think it probably makes sense to have a half torn up road in the middle of the winter. Probably is less than ideal. So if this contractor, can get it all done in the spring by the contract date, then great. So we'll be moving forward on that. Do we need any formal motions with this tonight, or
No, we can do those at the whole Tuesday.
okay?
Bring it up.
Anything? Just a quick summary on that. Anything from either of you two?
No, it complies with the intention of the local law, what we talked about, and all in all, there you go.
Okay. Any questions? Okay. Then I guess I will make a motion to postpone this until the next committee of the whole. Can I get a second, please? Second by Alderman Witt. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. No new referrals, no approval of committee. Do we have approval of committee reports? Okay. And then I'll make a motion to adjourn. Do I get a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman George. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned.
What we're doing, finance next? Okay. Let's see, let the record show everybody's here. Approval, we need approval of the previous minutes from August 20th. I'll make a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the monthly bills, they were just, if you have any questions, anybody? I had a couple questions and I spoke with Fred and he cleared those up for me. And I just wanted to have Fred go over just briefly the first quarter report, if you would.
Briefly, we're off to a fairly good start. Our sales tax revenue was up $21,000 from the same period last year. Our workman's comp insurance came in well under budget. The pension costs, or our pension liability that we pay on December 15th, tentatively looks like we're going to be under budget. We have a meeting coming up next month with the representatives with Blue Cross and Blue Shield. We have good utilization for the first 8 months of the year, and we're hoping that if there's an increase, it'll be very modest. We're not going to see double digits or anything like that. And overall, the expenditures are within budget, so we're off to a fairly good start.
That's great.
Great. Any questions? Okay, that last thing, and I think we need to discuss this a little, is the sidewalk program. After the bills in this month, there's about $13,700 left. So my question is, do we use that, and what happens if someone puts in for it? Do we hold them off till next year. Hopefully we're gonna do this again next year. Fred and I were talking about that, and we just have to think about how we wanna handle that.
So let me ask a quick question, and maybe, I don't know, Fred or Bob might be able to answer this. I know there are some residents who, for whatever reason, sent in applications and were accepted, but, I think one of them I just talked to on Washington Street. She doesn't want to redo her sidewalk until the water line and everything gets put in place. So they said, okay, we'll hold off on, you're accepted. Are those funds allocated, or would that be potentially in this $13,000?
There's no provision for that. That's the actual expenditures that we will have made through September.
Okay, so that's not including ones, payments that we may have made or will be making this month?
Those will be the.
Yeah, this-
yeah,
Oh,
that-
I'm sorry.
That includes September, I think.
Okay, I'm sorry.
There were 39 people
Yeah.
that took advantage of the program.
Okay,
But that's what's left after these.
okay.
I think it's
13.
slightly less because we just got invoiced for.
So that'll be in next month's,
Yeah.
yeah.
But we have a total, it's, I think, somewhere around 10,000.
Okay.
Remaining?
Yeah.
Now, again, I guess, and I can follow up
There
with
are
you.
some people that actually didn't get it completed. They weren't supposed to use their contractor. For whatever reason, their contractor didn't follow through. So we sent them letters and said, we need to have it done now or or have our contractor do it because we've identified it as a tripping hazard. But some of those are still kind of open.
Okay.
And we'll either replace them this spring or do an access program and continue it so that we can complete everybody's sidewalk and do that.
Yeah, I guess that's my question. Do we at some point, say, put something in the paper that we're through for the year, so we can't take any more applications, we have to wait for next year? Because I don't want someone to put an application in and then they get told, well, it's next year. I just think we need to give them a heads up.
Yeah, I don't think we've got an application in a long time, but we at least notified everybody who hasn't gotten it done. Because I would ask that we could just follow through with those people. And I can give you a number of at least everybody who signed up for the program, plus what their reimbursement is.
Okay.
So I had an interesting question. I think I emailed you and Bill, and maybe you. So I had a resident reach out to me literally right before we passed the law. She put in a new sidewalk. And so her question was if there were monies left, would she be able to apply? She still has a receipt, she still has the thing, it was in like a month of when.
I had a
that
guy
happened.
too, and Bill
So-
said no.
He
told me
didn't,
no.
nobody responded, so I didn't know it. I mean, I get it, and she understands it was before, but
Yeah.
if the funds weren't exhausted.
I mean, if, that would be, that's the administrator, that would be up to, I would think, up to Bill.
Yeah. No, I had asked him about a gentleman that had the same thing, and he wanted to put in for it because he already had it done. And Bill said no, because it was before, so.
They skipped the process where we assessed it as a tripping hazard, which was part of the program, and that was.
So unless they had photos.
Not my
you
situation.
have to really.
Because they did that on their own.
But, our engineers didn't go out and identify the
Oh,
tripping
I
hazards,
see
and
what
now
you're
it's
saying.
blocks, yeah.
Like maybe only 2 other blocks were bad, or maybe all of them were bad, but we have no proof of that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, no referrals, unfinished business, we have none? Okay, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Okay.
I'll second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
If the boys want people to sign it.
We could be troopers and hang out the whole time. Got
Yeah.
3 more meetings.
Not that tough.
2.
2 more.
2.
Okay.
All right, I'll call the order of the public safety meeting for September 17th, 2019. Let the record show all aldermen are present. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of Tuesday, August 20th. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Crawford, all in favor.
Aye.
Unfinished business, none. New referrals, South Street, 2-hour parking.
This is Bill and I, there's designated no parking on the south side of South Street, the parallel parking along there. And after the market was built, we have CSEA parking on either side of the structure, but in the center part of the structure, which is about 20 spots, we thought of designating that as 2-hour parking, so that anybody downtown where it's 2-hour parking couldn't go over there and park all day. So we put signs up that said it's 2-hour parking, but I guess we're asking the council to officially pass in code that would be the north side in front of the market would be designated 2-hour limit parking.
So the other side of the street, they could park, that's already 2 hours?
That's already in the code.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's already 2 hour?
The south side is correct.
Okay.
And this would be the north side.
This is along East State Street, though.
On South Street.
That's
Oh,
behind
Oh, on the
And front
north
of
side
North
of
side.
South Street.
So right against the farmer's market?
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right
So-
against.
Yes.
There are no signs there? There's nothing there right now?
Well, we put signs up.
That's
Yeah,
not
we-
gonna go back to the-
Oh, we need a
So you can't,
Just
Yeah.
making spots
Yeah.
are, but the whole center part.
Yeah,
which is
I would have supported you on this one, Bob, had you not jumped the gun and just willy-nilly put up signs assuming that you knew what we were going to tell
We
you.
have the employees park there, but they don't park the whole,
The CSCA contract, we only need 15 spots out there, so we put them out on the perimeters, or at least on the ends. of the
so there's
street.
a bump out there behind the market, so it'd be on both sides of that.
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay,
pretty much lines up exactly with the structure.
I think 2 of them are handicapped.
gotcha.
The number of parking spots provided is actually in the contract.
Yeah, with a
Wow.
sign.
What,
the signs you put up, there's 2 sections for code for 2-hour parking. One is 7 to 5 Monday through Friday, and 8 to 5 Monday through Saturday. Does this just generally say 2-hour parking?
Yes.
So it would be a
Doesn't have
new
any
section of
sign.
code with no timeline.
Right.
So,
I just wanna make sure that,
is that enforced Monday through Friday, I guess is why?
okay.
I think we're affecting Monday through Friday.
Right,
which
of course.
I believe is the same as North Union.
7 to 5 Monday through Friday.
Yes.
No, North Union is 8 to 5. Monday through Saturday. I don't.
Saturday, but we don't have a guy working on Saturday to give tickets, so
Why would
you're
we
in
not-
luck.
Why would
I
we
just
not
wanna
want it to mirror what the south side of South Street is? Shouldn't it, I mean, it's the same street, shouldn't we just mirror whatever the south side of South Street is?
But you might want to also
Keep people
consider.
guessing.
Like, do I park over here?
I just wanna make sure that when we
The
do
other,
it.
the other thing you got to worry about is like when people, like some of the vendors park in some of those spots. So if they're in a 2-hour parking spot and we happen to hire a Saturday code or
Oh, I think- yeah.
parking enforcement official, then all of a sudden those guys get ticketed for being
Sure.
tenants of the farmers market and
No, I don't think we wanna police that on Saturday,
Yeah.
do we? Are these spots that are utilized by people selling stuff at the market?
We have magnetic signs for the day of the market that they get there really early, so they're gonna actually put them on the posts.
Okay,
They're, 6-inch by 24-inch signs, say vendor parking, so
Okay.
that's all available to the market people.
okay, good.
magnetic. The signs are made out of like aluminite, right?
It's
It's
okay.
non-ferrous
Okay,
metal.
anybody have anything else for South Street?
Makes sense.
Everyone's okay with?
Makes sense.
Yep.
Surprise us.
All right, next one, Berry Street to Tompkins Street, no parking here to corner. Is that you, Kevin?
Yes. We just had a lot of parking complaints from constituents down there. Some of the neighbors are getting bigger trucks, things like that. So it's just
Part of Berry.
North Berry. Let's see here.
Behind here.
Yeah,
Beef and
yeah,
Barrel.
by Beef and Barrel. Yep.
Yep.
So where would it be from here to corner?
Me and Bob met a while ago on this one. Bob, where?
Basically, the white truck is causing slight distance issues, so you 20 feet behind that side, 20 feet, this is looking north, south.
Okay.
Picture?
Oh, we have pictures. They went. I'm sorry. I got here late and everybody else was hitting me up, so just kind of dropping stuff off here. So I thought you guys all had them.
Yeah, people park right up to that very corner. When you try to pull out, you can't see it.
So
Are you
it's
supposed
New
to
York,
park beyond a sidewalk?
New York State. Was it New York
20 feet?
State? New York State traffic law is that you can't park within 20 feet of a corner, but it's harder for cops to write tickets, if I remember correctly, for parking within that distance if there's not signage.
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
Isn't that sign a little big for the street?
Okay.
I
I know.
mean, they might have a better
But no,
avenue to
isn't
pursue
that-
argument in court.
Isn't that-
We'd have to prove the 20 feet because there's not a delineated line painted on the ground.
Oh, I didn't.
Right.
Oh.
You know, It's rare occurrence.
Gotcha, because I was gonna say, some places don't have these signs and a lot of places do, and then you're like, all right, well, if it's already in New York State law, why do we have a sign?
That's what he would argue.
I'm just not a fan of changing the laws to because of one truck.
Oh, okay.
You know.
But it's not one truck, it's.
Are you saying that truck's parked illegally right now?
I don't know. Nobody's talked to me about this thing at all. So
But he's parked right
Don't
up
even know
to
what
the
you're talking
corner,
about.
so you're not allowed to park within 20 feet of the corner? Is that what you guys are saying?
Yeah, you're not supposed to park within 20 feet of the corner.
Okay, so you don't need a sign to delineate it, you're saying? He's already parked illegally.
Yeah, if you apparently, can I see the photograph?
Sure, yeah.
So he should be ticketed, right?
I don't know. I'd have to go out and measure that. It's hard to say by this photograph.
But at
But
any
most
part
people
of his
don't know
truck,
that.
By the top one, Jeff, not the bottom.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at it.
Okay.
And I agree with whoever said it's not just that white truck. I'm sure
Oh, no.
any part of the day,
It's others.
you drive there and there's cars there, pulling out of there.
Yeah.
I mean, so in a situation like that, if there is no sign there, what would one do? If the resident that lives there or someone who's pulling out there should look at that and be like, oh, that guy's parked right up on the corner, they should call dispatch and...
Right, there's a business there,
Yeah.
Okay.
so, and that business is like a law firm that people aren't
Okay.
probably readily traveling to and from. Law firms get kind of intermittent business, so, and they're not too concerned with it because they're parking somewhere else. So if it's not blocking their line of sight,
Yeah.
they don't care about it. It's the people leaving Tompkins Street or trying to turn onto Tompkins Street, things like that. Those are the people that are affected by it, is people actually using the roadway, not the actual business or the residents.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but like me and the chief, well, like when I was just talking with the chief just here, we just, you call the police, they write a ticket, then somebody has to argue it in court. Like, where's the, you know what I mean? How far was he really from the corner? Was he 15 feet? Was he full 20? Was he 21 and a half feet? You know what I mean? The sign, popping a sign up there kind of just eliminates the question.
Right.
The sign's roughly at the 20-foot mark. Cop sees it, writes the ticket at the 20-foot mark.
Here's just a off-the-wall question. Do your officers carry tape measures? Or no?
We have a few vehicles for the accident. People that have them with them,
But
I mean,
is it-
typically, like, if you look at all the different parking violations, there's not signs around the city that say you can't park within so many feet of a crosswalk, or you can't park within so many feet of a stop sign. You don't have to have a sign indicating that. It's the public's responsibility to know what the laws are.
Right,
You
I
don't have-
agree.
You don't have to sign every ordinance or everything. And we will ticket, stuff randomly that's not necessarily signed, but illegal. I mean, there's not a sign that says you can't park next to a fire hydrant, but yet everybody knows that's illegal. So I don't know, we don't want to get crazy installing signs everywhere for stuff that you don't need to install a sign for.
And I agree with that, Chief. I guess I'm trying to understand, so if someone were to call dispatch sends somebody over there, and by the naked eye, it could be 10 feet, but as Kevin's saying, if there's not a sign there to identify what is the ticket point, does the officer have a tape measure? Like, how do you?
Well, if it was obviously
validate?
under the 20 feet, I mean, you could pace it off. And
You
yes,
can pace it off.
If it was 6
Okay.
feet away,
Okay.
you're going to write the ticket without a tape measure.
So you can use
If it was
paces.
really close, yeah,
Okay.
we can get a tape measure down there.
Okay.
Or, and you can always ticket it, and the person could, if they want to take time out of their schedule, leave work and come in and
Yeah.
dispute it, that's up to
Right.
them.
Okay. Okay.
But I think a sign also, it might deter, thank you, a huge number of people from just doing it. I don't know. If I don't see a sign, it might not even occur to me you're not supposed to park that close to an intersection, you might just park there, you know what I mean? But if I see that sign, you're gonna move on. Maybe you get one or two that won't listen to that, they'll get a ticket, and then maybe of those one or two will fight, I don't know, whatever, I don't care.
Yeah.
Because honestly, if I wasn't on the council, I wouldn't know that law.
Yeah.
20 feet.
Yeah, I didn't either.
And if I was in a hurry, or I was late to class, or
Yeah, if there's
I
not
wanna
a
hurry
sign,
and
I'd
jump
park
in line
there.
in a restaurant, I'd park there.
And,
But to
you
the
know,
chief's point, imagine if we had to put that in every single corner,
Dude.
all over our
Well,
entire
it's
city.
not like we're suggesting that.
I know,
Yeah.
but
This is,
but this,
a problem area.
to me, it's a
Fine.
problem area because you're trying to pull out of Tompkins and across the street is where you go in and out of our parking lot.
Right, and
So
the Beef and
there
Barrel
is
parking lot's
traffic
like
there.
20 yards away, you know.
The
and-
only- The only other thing I will say is early in the morning, on days I go to the high school, I cut down the street to avoid all the traffic uptown, and there's kids that cross here, and if that car's parked there, and they're little kids, I'm not gonna see them.
Yeah. Great.
It's an uphill approach, so it's hard to see cars coming when you're sitting low or something like that.
Yeah, I think a sign clears the sight line for that left-hand turn. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
I think it helps keep the kids safe too.
Only a lot unsupervised.
Everybody should just walk. It's walkable only.
Yeah, just ticket all the cars you see. People are supposed to be walking.
Especially in January.
Park your cars on the city limits.
From 9 to 5 or 2.
I'm with you on
Some of
this
those
one.
side.
All right, buddy.
I'm with you.
All right,
Yeah, do what you gotta do, Kevin.
all right. So I will submit a formal PL.
Take it to a vote.
All right, that requires publication, yeah, Kevin. I'll talk to Bob about it and just take a few weeks.
Okay.
But Chief, I would like you to get that plate number and talk to this man.
Get them.
All right, I can almost make it out.
Was this photo taken by the space station? Very grainy. Google Maps doesn't have a better image.
it's taken with Kevin's,
GoPro.
LP.
He should have taken it with his girlfriend.
His Nokia cell phone.
All right,
Track phone.
we have no approval of committee reports, so I'll make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second by Alderman George, all in favor?
Aye.
Moving right along.
Oh, we only have one left.
Okay, let's get this over with. I'll call to order strategic planning for Tuesday, today, September 17th. Let the record show that all committee members are present. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the previous committee meeting, which was held way back on August 20th, 2019. We have no unfinished business. We do have a new referral, it's just a discussion. So you've all been given
Wait, we need a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You're
Can I have a
moving
second,
way
please?
too fast.
Second.
Second by Alderman Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Alright.
I was an aye.
I noted, Tiffany, make sure you put that in the record.
Now, new referral.
Now you just totally
I'm sorry.
stole my
I'm-
phone. Unfinished business, none. New referrals for consideration, yes, we do have one of those. Discussion, Green Street entrance of Franchot Park, so you've all been given a very attractive looking color print from Bob Ring. So, Green Street, West Green Street specifically, the two commonly known as Buddy Langen houses that have been completely torn down. Now it is an empty field, and we need to figure out something as a city to do with it. So I asked Bob Ring to sketch up an idea that would be both cost effective and attractive method of making a new park entrance to the lovely Franchot Park. And this is what we're looking at here. So I don't know how familiar y'all are with Franchot Park, but this basically would walk right into this path. There's like a little, walking path that goes all the way around the park. A lot of people use it from that neighborhood. And it also, the pool is right there, the little shed thingy is right there. And it would make a nice approach for that neighborhood, give some parking, you know what I mean, for use. Bob, do you have anything you want to add to that? I'm not sure where else to go with it. But basically, Bob kind of worked up some rough costs. That's obviously still to be determined. You know what I mean, where we would get the funding for that, but whether we could, if there was a contingency money left over, or if we wanted to just build it into a budget in next year's budget. Not sure. But yeah, it would also, one thing I want to point out, obviously the sign says Lincoln Park, it would say Franchot Park on this one. because this is Franchot Park.
Screw with people.
But it would also kind of match with the jive of the new sign we put up over at the Lincoln Square. So I think it would be a great thing for that neighborhood. You know, it's new sidewalk. It's, you know, just investment that place desperately needs. Yes, Alderman Kevin.
I don't know how many you guys drive Green Street on the regular though.
I do every day.
Main, like middle of the day, beginning of the morning, end of the day. There is a lot of on-street parking and congestion on there. I'm wondering if like how much that's going to affect the roadway.
Yep. So I believe there. I'm not 100% certain, but I believe there already is a no parking here corner sign as you approach Second on both ends.
Okay.
And I believe there's a section I'm sorry, the north end of West Green Street is where you can park. You cannot park on the south side at all.
Yep.
So, I mean, I don't know.
I know. I've been down there and there's cars parked. You know, you get cars parked on both sides. You play that like bob and weave game.
Yeah.
Trash truck comes on like a Wednesday and you gotta like stick behind them and everybody's kind of like
they don't
jammed
park
up.
On both. They can't park on both sides. They usually don't. But I point is very valid.
Yeah.
I'll follow up with what Kevin said about the parking, because going to the garden, I've noticed a lot. But my question, if we put parking in here, that's what I'm assuming the lines are.
Yep.
Can we see people from the neighborhood parking in there?
Well, that is obviously a thing, right? Like there are houses on that street that don't have off-street parking.
Well, I'm thinking in winter, you know, when we're plowing, I can see someone saying, "Oh, I'll park in there."
And I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily either.
Just bring it up.
Yeah. I don't. That's an excellent point.
Walking distance to the Green Monster. You can,
Yes.
yeah,
You do
there, zero
no
parking.
overnight parking except for snow emergencies.
Yep.
And street sweeper night would be another one.
No, I think that would help the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was just bringing that up.
No, I think that's
People
I
like
didn't even think of that. That's a great
Not
idea.
Tiger.
So,
Can I
Would
ask you
there
a
be a
question,
way to-
Paul?
yeah, Nate, go ahead.
With this cost estimate, and I like this idea, it looks good, is that an asphalt driveway or a gravel driveway?
It's gravel, I guess I imagine like a milling driveway as opposed to paving another surface, you know, considering our stormwater runoff issues and things that, you know, why not just use millings, we can put them in ourselves and save a little cost that way too.
Is there any talk to, when you come in off, South Union, how bad that road is, like the hill's giving way and you have to, like the road's caving and you go around to park to go to the pool?
Up by Reed's.
Is there any talk to fix that? Like if you come in by, what is it? South Union Street,
A1 rental.
A1 rental. Yeah,
Oh,
and you're
yeah.
coming back there and you're on that road, it's literally not even a road really. I mean, it's a road, but it's like crumbling away.
Is it
and you have
Franchot
to
Lane or
go
something?
up Almost to the hill to come in to park.
Parkway?
Is there any talk to redo that too? Or are you trying to get traffic to come in Green Street?
I think
I like our
that's
parks
the
to be
idea. We
on
talked about
defendable
replacing that road,
positions.
it's just, you know, replacing Park Road versus replacing the road
No,
where houses are.
yeah.
That's the only reason it hasn't been done in a long time.
So maybe by doing this, it'll cut down on the people coming there. I'm just saying, and there's definitely, I've
Millings?
never counted parking down there, but adding parking.
If this is something that we're thinking about long-term, it might be beneficial to also think about the entrance that Kelly's talking about, maybe having a matching entrance, like on Green Street, there off of South Union Street too. If we're going forward with the South Union Street project, right? And although it stops at Green Street, if we somehow find funding to continue it to the bridge, why not have a nice entranceway into Franchot Park right there? Again, maybe mimicking this entranceway off of Green Street. I think it's important that we try to start to prioritize the parks, and this is a great start to this one.
Because the presentation was connecting parts.
Right,
Yep.
right.
And that way it has its identity.
And this will, I think this, for that neighborhood, and as much help as they need over there. 40, whatever this quote is, right? I don't know how accurate that ends
45,000.
up being, but that's a pretty low investment for pretty high impact, right? Like, I think there's a lot of banks that buck, so.
Yeah, I think it would really improve that neighborhood.
Yeah, and it's better than it is now. I mean, yeah, it was awful with those two ridiculous houses there, but now it's just a barren field. You know what I mean? Like the whatever that land bank sign is or whatever. That's not even, somebody ripped it out. It's laying on the ground. I mean,
They
Scrap
need to
went
pick
down.
those up.
yeah. Well,
I'd still like to see a splash pad going over there.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Wanted
think-
a splash pad for pink, we just didn't.
Yeah, I think your point is great, Paul. This is a connection to
I
the
like it.
neighborhood,
Yeah.
helps the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Great investment, great
Yeah.
idea.
Thanks.
But it also fills in that space.
Yeah.
Because just driving down there, because I go through the garden, it just looks,
Yeah.
it looks like, your dentures, there's a tooth missing. It
Yeah.
just looks terrible.
Yeah.
I know.
Did you buy dentures with a tooth missing?
That was a Kevin analogy right there. That was a Kevin analogy.
That's a familiar sight.
Pretty bad dentures.
Okay, two teeth are missing. You know what I
Who are you talking to today?
It's like the dentist.
So anyway, it's just a discussion. So mull it over, and I think Bob, I think we'd like to move forward on it. If you have any concerns, obviously, let me know or Bob or whatever, and we'll see if we can work something out. But
You can.
Is there any way to tap into Carrie's resources like she did for Whitney? I know the both could be put together to try and find some funding
Yeah.
to help offset this.
yeah, that's.
Does Kaboom have a parking lot grant?
But I don't think it's out of the question if we think there's a big enough grant
It would just be
to
parking,
expand this
Huh?
into something else.
Technically, right?
Yeah. Part of the
No, I
park.
mean, that's one, I mean, really, a splash pad's been something that a lot of people, a lot of residents have talked about, right? And I don't know what the condition is of that smaller wading pool, but I would think that would be a great transition, right?
It's hopping in the summer. I mean, obviously it's not in the winter, but when, when it's a nice day, there's tons of families there with little kids. It makes sense, they park in the parking lot, and they push their little stroller over right to the pool. They're in the pool. And now they got to park way the hell over by the basketball courts and walk all the way up. That's not all the way, It's like walking through the Walmart parking lot. It's not a big deal, but this is that much closer. That's better.
And I think, the other thing, kind of bouncing off what John just said, and Kelly is, kind of give it an identity, and then we're taking that house down at the other end of the park.
Yeah,
This is
we're-
all
yeah.
Franchot we're talking
Yeah.
about. I think it would really help that neighborhood, because you're gonna have more parking down there.
Down at 4th Street there.
But do something down there.
Yeah, because they also have a pavilion down there that not too many people use because it's kind of a distance away from like
Yeah.
the playground equipment and stuff.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of parking, but if
No,
you take
yeah.
that house down.
You could like park on like the Dykes entrance kind of thing and kind of just walk.
So it's gonna improve the whole.
Well, I've always thought, since I've been on the council, Franchot is a grossly underutilized park, right? Like, it's got that huge track, people could go down there and run, they could, there's the pool, there's basketball courts, lots of green space, and it just doesn't get the use, I don't feel like. Yeah, there's Little League and stuff in there, but I think it's untapped, I think it could be better utilized.
And we had the children's garden there, that we had our ceremony every
Yeah.
year, so. There's a lot of good things going on down there.
Since Bill nor the fire chief are here, I don't know if Nick has any idea. Nick, do you know if there's been any update on getting quotes or bids or what the status is of those 3 city properties?
I know they did solicit the asbestos reports.
Okay.
That's cool.
Okay. So does that mean going out to find someone to do the asbestos report?
They did the RFP for them.
Oh, okay. Good deal.
Paul,
Okay, yes, Kevin Doherty.
after we do, we'll mull it over a little more. I'd recommend reaching out to a few of the neighbors just to get their take on it. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
sure.
they'd be right next to a parking lot. I mean, just throwing it out
Better
there.
than what they were next to.
No, I know.
Here, it looks
I mean,
terrible now.
this guy here mows the lawn there. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Yeah.
So the city doesn't keep up with it, so he just goes over and mows
I
it.
will
But
contact this.
See if he has any problems.
Okay, I will, there's obviously no committee reports. Does anyone have anything from a strategic perspective that they'd like to add to this meeting?
yes.
Kevin.
Are we worried about having
Related to
3
this one, yeah.
full entrances to Lincoln Park making it less, or Franchot Park making it less defendable position in case
No.
of zombie attack?
No, I think,
Okay.
no. Well, and that's the thing, Bob Ring told me that, there's a removable bollard that's gonna be there, it's gonna be hydraulic powered, and we're giving the remote access it from the city building, and will raise up and out of the ground. Amazing technology, that's not true. just
It's gonna have a Bill Aleo statue on top of it, like.
Spikes.
Alright.
Cases.
Anyway, I will make, the motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I will oppose. No, that's the record. Thank you.